Stitchy friends, and welcome to A Stitch with me. Today is Monday and I'm here to work on this beautiful chart which I started a couple of weeks ago probably now, and it's called the Great Cottage Walkway. It's an Artisy chart, artisy.com, and I have got a little bit more done on this since the last time that I showed it to you. I've got a little bit more of the top of the tree here in the foliage, and I think it's looking pretty good. And I'm working 1/1 full cross, and I'm sort of doing cross country, not really huge amount of cross country. I'm not sort of going all the way down into infinity and beyond, because that's really not for me. I like to sort of keep my threads, my paths a little bit more short and sweet, so I don't get lost. Because even with a grid, trust me, I can get lost. So yeah, I'm going to try and do a little bit of stitching. It's a bit hard to stitch on this one whilst talking, because there is so much confetti in it. If I don't keep, be mindful of where I am and what I'm doing, I'm just going to get completely lost. So I may be a little bit slower stitching wise, but that's in order for me to be able to chat to you. Otherwise I won't be able to keep up a conversation, because yeah, I'll just get lost and I'll make a mistake, and then yeah, it'll not be great. So what else can I tell you about this chart? Let me just go back to, before I start, view the PDF. Yeah, so it's about 300 stitches wide by 227 stitches in height. And when I worked out what it was on 25 count, which is what I'm using here, I found it to be about 12 inches by 8 inches, something around that size. So it's not very big at all. If you were to do this chart on something like 14 count, you would have something the size of 20 inches by 15, 16 inches. So that's pretty big. But the smaller the holes, obviously it shrinks the size of the finished result. So I'm quite happy with a 12-inch piece. I think my Haid, which I finished last year, was might have been about 15, 14 inches, something thereabouts. So it wasn't hugely much bigger. It was a mini. But they still take quite a bit of time to do. And I've just been talking in my last video about this sky and how difficult it was to do the grey stitches and the yellow stitches, because it's so difficult to see them. But if you look here at the actual picture, we've got all this area here, which, you know what, I didn't even think about this when I bought the chart. That's going to be a bit of a nightmare. But you know what they say? You take it bit by bit, slowly, and you don't, or like, I don't think I should just completely do that section. I think I should move around, because moving around gives me the benefit of not being stuck in an area that I'm not particularly happy with. So there's a tip. Yeah, you can move around if you're not doing like diagonals, strict diagonals, or you're not doing strict row by rows. You can move around a bit, and it just makes it a bit more palatable, I think, and a little less like you're going to pull your hair out when you get to sections like that. So that's what we have. And also I'm going to do a giveaway today of Needleminders. I nearly forgot to mention it. Because I realized today that I've hit 6,000 subscribers. It only occurred to me last night when I was checking my phone that I got an email from YouTube saying, congratulations, you've hit 6,000 subscribers. And I was like, oh my God, have I really? That many? I couldn't believe it, honestly. And I'm so humbled and hugely grateful for all of you that spend time with me, each and every one of you. And so I thought, well, that deserves a little giveaway. What can I give to my subscribers? And of course I make Needleminders, don't I? So I'd have to give away. So I have 2 Needleminders to give away, and I might as well get it done now before I start with the stitching. So I've chosen 2 of my loveliest Needleminders, and all you need to do, I think, to enter is to be over the age of 18. And please do not mention the word giveaway in the comments, because apparently from what I've seen on other flosstube videos, it invites unwanted trolls that are just looking for freebies, and they're not stitchers and they're not regular viewers, and you really don't want them around. They're just there to be grabby and get whatever they can get for free. And you know, those kind of people, they don't really float my boat, and I don't think they float yours either. So let's not invite them. So let's start with the first one. Now this is a beautiful little needleminder that I created a little while back, and I haven't got it up in my shop. So before I do that, I'm going to give it away to one of you. So if you like this lovely needleminder, it's got a lovely dome back here, and it's made of wood, and it's got a beautiful resin coating, and there's a cute little owl down here. So if you like this one, just simply maybe say anything you want in the comments, but include the word rabbit or rabbits. Seems like a little family of rabbits here. And yeah, and then I will enter you into a draw, which I shall do in about 2 or 3 weeks time. I'll put the details in the description box anyway. So this one is rabbits. If you like this, it's about 4 centimeters big. And I think it's gorgeous. It's part of my nature collection. So I've been making needleminders and putting them up in my shop of different kind of aspects of nature, whether it's leaves or trees or animals, little forest or woodland creatures. And yeah. And the second one I'm going to give away is this beautiful design here. And it's got a lovely little seaside scene with some buildings and a dome and a guy walking along here, and it's got this beautiful sparkle. Depends which way you turn. This one also is sparkly. Again, a lovely dome backing, and they're really super strong. So if you like this one, please comment below with the word maybe scenery. So we've got scenery for the second one, and we've got rabbits for the first one. So whichever one you like, if indeed you like any of them. If you don't like any of them, that's fine, but whichever one you like the best, just comment below, and I will definitely pick out a winner and send it on ASAP. So it's open to everybody. I don't see there's any need to exclude anybody from winning that. And yeah, just make sure you're over 18. So there's that. If you want to take a look at other needleminders, the link is in the description box below. So let's get on with some stitching now, because that's really what I've come here to do, is to try and get a little bit more stitching done on this one. So I've got all my stuff around me. Yeah, I've got my scissors, I've got my flosses. My cat is snoozing in a basket, not her basket, my basket, but she's adopted it for herself. Because anything that comes into our house, she has to approve it and get into it and test it for size to make sure if she likes it. And if she likes it, she'll use it for herself. If she doesn't like it, she'll just stick her nose up in the air and sort of walk off. Because any of you that have cats will no doubt know exactly what they're like. They can be fussy, they can be, yeah, demanding. That's just cats for you. So I've had a busy week again. Or busy weekend. We've been out and not a lot of stitching got done. A little bit. Yesterday I worked on my Gracious Era, which is a kit, and I was pleased to get a few stitches done on that. So next weekend it will be London again. So I'm doing an alternate. I've picked 2 kits and I'm doing alternate stitching every fortnight to try and get progress. Gosh, I can barely see the holes. I find it hard to see the little tiny stitches when they're similar colours to the ones around them. Thank goodness Pattern Keeper here is telling me which ones are free, because I honestly wouldn't be able to tell. There's such a blend of yellows around here and greens that, yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, have I already done that stitch? I can't tell you if I already done it. Sometimes I have to poke it a bit with the needle just to see if there's actually a stitch in there. But hey, it makes it interesting. It's all fun and games, right? Okay, my Pattern Keeper says I've got 2 stitches here, but I only see 1. Oh no, there's only 1. See what I mean, guys? I think also sometimes, you know, in an area like a tree, does it really matter if you've got a stitch wrong here or a stitch on it? Does it? I mean, unless you're really, really into being a bit of a perfectionist. Does it really matter if you've got a slightly different shade of green to all the greens around? Or I suppose it depends on the pattern and what's actually, what the effect is of the end result. But generally, I think I would never try to unpick a stitch. That wasn't particularly a problem. I just wouldn't see there to be any need if it's like something with such a big blend of colours. I'm sitting by the window here, so if you happen to hear traffic or you happen to hear an ambulance or 2, or I don't know, fire engine, police car, then just so you know, I'm not in the countryside. I am in a major city. So major city brings major noises, but to be fair, I don't really get to hear a lot of noise at all in my place because we have really good double glazing. And unless it is like an ambulance or something, I really don't hear much else. I'm going to try and do a little pin stitch here, because sometimes I've been doing them. But I'm finding it hard. I don't think my needle is quite sharp enough to get in between those weaves. So that was that colour. Let's go with something that's not too, something that's got a few more stitches rather than 2 little stitches. They are pretty confetti, as I said, so they're going to be dotted around everywhere. There's no question about that. So I'm not getting any blocks of colour, I'm afraid, in this one. But that's okay, because I've got other charts that have got blocks of colour. I remember Happy Village by Heaven and Earth Signs being quite blocky in the sky and everything. And talking of Happy Village, and I was saying in my last video how I'd lost it, it is still missing in action. Hasn't turned up. So, yeah. It's a pity, really. But hey, I'm not going to cry over, I mean, it's not like I'd got to 50, if I'd got to like 50% or something, then I probably would cry. But I'm going to be completely, you know, well, apart from being a bit optimistic that it'll turn up, I'm going to put it into perspective. There's a lot of worse things that can happen in life than losing a cross-stitch piece. And I'd rather lose a cross-stitch piece than have one of the worst things happen in life, to be honest. So I'm not going to cry about it. At the end of the day, I enjoyed whilst I was stitching, and that's the main thing. So yeah, I'm not going to be all like dramatic and hysterical and stuff like that, because there's just no point. There's no point wasting the energy on something you can't change. And that's one of the things that I try to remember every day, is no point being overly, I don't know, upset about things you can't change, because they can't be changed. So I try to just sort of accept things and move forward. So here we are moving forward with a brand new piece. I had thought about starting this one, but I wasn't intending to start it until about October, around my birthday time, because I thought it would give me time to, you know, develop a few of the other ones a bit more. But hey, I did need a little pick-me-up, to be fair. And it is little, it's not a huge piece, so I can justify it because it is only 12 inches long. Okay. I think this is going to be, see, this is quite difficult to, not hugely, but it is. I know it's difficult to get a needle in when you're using 2 strands and you're doing 10 stitch, but that isn't to say it's not difficult to get in between these little gaps with 1/1, because it is, trust me. When you've still got lots of different colours, there's no getting away from having a little bit of difficulty. So now I'm, let's see, which stitch have I done? Is it this one? See, I can't even see. I think my eyesight's getting worse. But I did just go to the opticians a couple of weeks ago and my eyes are fine. But I think when they're tired, they just start to see things double or something. Forgot what I was going to say now. I don't think I'm quite awake yet. I think I'm still half asleep. You'll have to forgive me for that. Which direction am I going to go? Because I can go to the left and I can go to the right. Oh, these kind of decisions drive me mad, because this is not a pick a symbol and go wherever you want decision. This is or just decide on which symbol you're going to pick. I've picked the symbol. I didn't have to decide that. I went for one of the ones in the gap. And now I'm like, there's green stitches on this side and green stitches on this side. And I don't think I'm going to be carrying this thread all over the place. So let me just make a decision quickly. I'm going to go left. Yeah, decision made. How easy was that? Usually it takes me half a day to make a decision about anything. I do hope that my camera's not bumping too much. Where did I just put that leg? Oh, there. Honestly, if I look away for a second, I do not know where I have put my first leg. I don't mean my physical leg, by the way. I'm talking about my cross-stitch leg. If my needle is behind the canvas, I don't know where to come back up. So far, so good. You know, when I start stitching on something like this, I get so into it, I don't want to stop. I just want to keep going, and then nothing else gets worked on because I just want to keep going. Is that a bad thing? Would you just keep going, or would you actually stop and fulfill? I think most of you actually stop, from what I've seen, and you go on to do your next either challenges or your next pieces, because you say, or I hear you say that otherwise they won't get worked on, which is absolutely fair. But do some of you ever just give in to that and say, you know what, I'm enjoying this so much that I'm going to keep going? You know, forsaking all others. Do you just do that sometimes? Because you do actually get a good lot of progress when you do actually sit down and just pick up the same thing again and again and again, instead of switching out. But I know, and I do the same, some of us just give it like 3 days or 4 days, just to make sure we get a proper amount of progress in. Now, there was something else I was going to tell you about starting this one that I'd forgotten to mention. Some of you who've done Artisy charts will notice that the actual charting never starts on the first row, vertically or horizontally. The actual chart itself starts on the inside say stitch number 2 on the inside. Now I always start my stitching on the actual grid, on the actual grey line that you see here. So if my 10 by 10 box is like a normal heaven and earth design way that it's charted, I will start on the first, over here, on the very first stitch up there, on the actual grey bit. That's stitch number 1. So stitch 10 is just before the second line. But with the Artisy charts, they don't have any stitches on stitch 1. It's just like they don't start the chart there. They start it on the inside, and that really threw me off the first time I started the Artisy chart, a previous one, because I was paying no attention to that, and I started on the grid instead of inside the grid. So my stitch number 2, I had made stitch number 1 and so forth, and then I just got into a complete counted mess. So by the time I got into the second square, it was all counting wrong, and it was absolutely terrible. It's all because I didn't pay attention. So just to warn you, if you ever pick up an Artisy chart in future, just check, because that first line is usually empty. And I can show you a little bit on here what it looks like, because I have that first square filled in. So give me a second. So if you look here, there's the square block, and there's nothing up here. The chart starts here. But then I would have done this stitch up there on my fabric, which made a huge mess, especially when you come to the end, because there's only 9 stitches in this block, not 10. That's stitch number 10. And so if I started up here, I'd have got to number 9, and then the next one I did would have been that one that's supposed to be over here, and so on. And oh my God, it was a nightmare, utter nightmare. I literally had to start again because it was a mess. So yeah, just be warned about. It's so easy to just like not see something like that if you're not really paying attention. And it makes such a huge deal. Like, it's so important to not miss that. The way that's charted. Did I say I was going left or right? I'm going left. So I'm sticking to the left column and not going into the right column for the moment. Now, if you're wondering how far down I go, I tend to sort of go into that next block down here, but I'm not sure I want to go further. If I go into the one down here, it's with a little bit of apprehension, but I can do. Depends on if it's worth it. There's only a few stitches in green. I might as well catch them and do them than have to come back again a second time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just my way of thinking. But if I have too many gaps everywhere, I start to get confused as to, I mean, I know I can follow little patterns and shapes, but I see the gaps less and less when they start getting a bit too crazy, unless it's just like one gap in a field of done stitches like that. If you get the one gap and everything is filled in around it, that's pretty easy to spot, I think. So I have been a bit of a newbie with Haid charts and doing the 1/1, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Okay. When I get down to here, it's a little bit more blocky, I think, which is going to be easier. Easier on the eye than doing this, where it's blending into the top of the tree, and there's lots of different yellows and greens. So I have to remember to count from the inner stitch. See, I think I've made a mistake. No, I haven't. I really do not like working down this edge. I really prefer to be on the inside, especially as the grid is the way it is. 1, 2, because I'm still counting 1 from the first grey square, and I should be counting, well, literally counting 2, 3, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should literally be counting from that second stitch, and I forget to do that. So yeah, I've got to be extra careful with everything. But I have to say, and I'm not lying, I do not miss the park threads at all. I love parking, I really do, but I had so many fur balls on my park threads, it was ridiculous. They were so tangled, I had to start cutting them up because I couldn't untangle them, because my ragdoll is so fluffy. She just has hairballs everywhere, and it was just driving me mad. So unfortunately, very hairy animals and park threads don't really go well together. Or maybe they do and we just don't like it. Right, so now we are going into the right hand zone. See, once you get past this first square, you can start counting from 1, 2, 3 as normal, wherever you start your first stitch. It's just that first square where they don't have anything on the first line, because unfortunately I start on the first line. Some people start on the second anyway, so it won't be anything different for them. But for me, it's like, oh, I have to count differently now. You'd be surprised how one little tiny thing like that can just, completely wreck everything. Now I've got another direction, up or down. I think in this instance I'm going to go let me see what's on the other side. I'm going to go down for the moment, or stay in this square. I'm not going to go up into there because there's too many stitches and I'm going to get lost. So I'm going to stay down here. It's nice that you actually get a bit of a choice, because when I was doing, one thing I sort of missed when I was doing row by row, I kind of missed having the freedom to choose which stitch I'm going to do next, because it was always park your thread, pick up the next parked thread, do the few stitches, park it below, pick up the next park thread, do the few stitches along that row, park it below, pick up the next thread. And there wasn't a lot of choices where to go, and it was, to be honest, after a while it does get boring. So when you go and you do something different like this, you can decide whether you want to go down, whether you want to go up, whether you want to end the thread even, if you want to just pick up and start going back up here. I mean, there's so many more choices. To some people, too many choices, especially for me, too many choices can be a little bit daunting, but it also is a bit more interesting than just, oh, I've got to do the next stitch and the next stitch and the next stitch and the next stitch. It's kind of like knitting in a way, where you just have to do 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 3 stitch, 4 stitch. It's all the same, which is very relaxing for knitting, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I'm waffling on a Monday morning. Right, I'm going to have to double check all this when I finish this video. I'm sure it's fine. I'm not rushing or anything, because that's when it's all going to go completely pear-shaped. I'm not doing too badly, I think. I'm going to go, I should have gone down. Oh, I have to get stitched down here. I try not to extend my thread too far, but sometimes you just have to, don't you, just to catch that 1 stitch. Not a problem. So let me know what you're stitching on, wherever you are, if you're stitching at the moment. Are you aiming for a finish anywhere? I know that some people are doing, I was going to say monotonous. It's not monotonous. That's not the word. I think it's because I just mentioned the word monotonous. Monogamous. Some people are doing monogamous stitching this month, so let me know what your monogamous piece is. And hopefully it's not monotonous, because some people can get burned out on the same piece. I think if I tried to do one piece for the whole month, I would get a bit fed up. I think we've just, as stitchers, we've just gone right past that ability to sit and stitch on one thing. Yeah, those were the old days, my friends. Those were the old days. It's quite funny. Here we go. I did say I was going to go right. It wasn't, instead of up, because there's more of clear space and I got less chance of making a mistake. Over to here. Well, at least Misty, little fluff ball, is actually leaving me in peace. She's gone to sleep, which is good. Not trying to climb all over my lap. Got this one. Gosh, we've been half an hour in and we haven't heard a single police car or an ambulance or anything. It's quite, yeah, quite rare to not hear at least one emergency vehicle rushing past. So I think I'll just keep going right for the moment. Maybe do that middle bit later. So this is not too difficult to count now because I'm past the danger zone. Probably wondering, or maybe not, why I've got a blue line down here. Because initially I was going to start stitching on this blue line, but then I had put don't worry, I've got plenty of fabric on the other end. There's no question. I've got like double the size of fabric that I need for the whole chart. When I put it into the hoop and everything, I couldn't get my needle up into the corner. So I thought, well, I'll just shift it one to the right. Problem solved, as they say. An extra square to the right wouldn't have made any difference, because it's quite a lot larger than I needed. Everything down here now is going to be a bit more blocky, which is great. Because by the time I get there, I'm going to need that. Trust me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Let's get this stitch in. I haven't done a stitch with me for a while, I've noticed. Just, you know, life, busy, running around, sorting things out. Getting things done. It is quite twisty to work this way, but it's cool. I find it pretty cool. I'm liking it. Definitely does go a lot quicker than doing rows anyway. Okay, let's just do this little bit. So I hope to get a bit more stitching done this week than I did last week, fingers crossed, because I've been quite busy. My shop has been busy. I've been having to replenish stock, yeah, lots of stuff going on, and I've had quite a few more appointments than usual. I've had to go to the dentist. I need to go back to the dentist because I kind of chipped my tooth a little bit. Not badly, but kind of enough to sort of irritate me, because now I'm like, well, it might only be slightly chipped, one of the back teeth, but you know, it could get an infection or something, or it could get like food inside and stuff. So I'm going back to the dentist. He can take a look. Might need a little filling, that kind of thing. I don't mind going to the dentist. I really like my dentist. He's such a lovely guy, and I don't have any problem. The only issues I have going to the dentist is my sinuses, because when I go, if I'm blocked up, I can't breathe through my nose. I kind of have to breathe through my nose in the dentist chair, or I can't breathe at all because my mouth is wide open and he's, you know, doing all the stuff, and I'll end up choking. So I've got to really try and make sure my nasal passages are clear, because the last thing I want to do is be lying there and snorting and choking, and the guy's going to think, oh my God, what's wrong with her? Nothing, just a blocked nose. And then the embarrassing thing is you start dribbling out the corner of your mouth. Okay, I'm not going there, because I'll start cackling and laughing. And then if I get into a cackling, laughing mode, I won't be able to stop. Yeah, it's the worst thing, trying to keep a decent face when you're in the dentist chair. Especially if you've got sinus issues. Just take it. I've been there, done that. And yeah, so I will be onto the nasal irrigation the night before and doing my best to be all like clear passages. Oh, goodness me. I mean, I can't exactly ring up and say, sorry, I can't come into my appointment today. I've got a blocked nose. I mean, they just don't kind of understand, you know, the amount of problems you get with that kind of treatment. I mean, it's fine if they're going to do something on your leg, or they're going to do something on your arm, or, you know, but it's your mouth, for goodness sake. I mean, you need to be able to breathe, right? Anyway, keep your fingers crossed for me, guys, that on Friday my nose will be clear. Just a simple prayer will do. Oh, dear me. That's just crazy. Very unflattering to be lying there like that. And I always think to myself, should I wear lipstick or should I not wear lipstick? Because sometimes, normally when I go out, I put on a bit of lipstick. And I think, if I don't, then, well, you know, that's okay. But if I do, does the dentist not like it because they get lipstick all over their gloves? And normally I just don't now, because I just wait till I've finished the appointment and then I go and leave and then might put some lipstick. But I always wonder, they must get people coming in with loads of makeup and lipstick, and they must get it everywhere, all over their gloves, all over their teeth, you know, the patient's got it all over their teeth and everything. I just think it must be so awkward for the dentist to work with, you know, that kind of setup. It's got to be so funny. I wonder if a dentist has ever said, oh, do you mind wiping your lipstick off, please? I don't know if it makes any difference to the dentist or not. It's just the silly little things you think about, isn't it? Okay, I'm coming to the end of this thread nearly, and we're about 40 minutes in. Might look different if I do some edits, but I'm going to aim, whilst I'm looking at it, for about 45, which is about right, because I don't want to bore you to tears. If any of you are still around, still here, still watching, still listening. I think I just made a mistake. Did I? I think I did. 1, 2, 3, down. I did. What did I tell you? That's okay. It's only in the last couple of stitches. But if I don't correct it now, it's going to mess me up. I mean, I could just mark it off on pattern keeper. I think it's this one. Oh no, I have to take off. Do I have to take off this one first? I do. I feel like I've got a bit of practice with this now though. Just a bit. I did an extra stitch on the left. That's because I was chatting away about dentists and being silly, not paying attention, you see. What? I have to take all these off as well? Oh, you're kidding me, right? Blooming neck. Why did I even? Why did I even? Yeah, well, you can see it in action, the mistakes and how to fix them. Like, if I was way down here, I probably wouldn't even bother with this, but I think there's a lot more that I'm going to have to take out now, all these. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to mark it off. I've decided. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take off all this row just to get down to here. So, change my mind. 3 there. Go mark off. It's one stitch, so I don't really care. And it's just one of these greens. So I'm going to mark off the wrong stitch as done and just carry on. And you would never ever be able to tell. And by the time I finish this video, I'll have forgotten about it myself. I was thinking, this is all going so well. I haven't made any mistakes during this video. And then I come to the last 5 minutes and guess what? Yep. The universe is like, well, we can't have that, can we? We have to have at least one challenge in the video. Otherwise, it's not going to be interesting for anybody. So there you have it. I'm going to redo some of these stitches and just keep going forward. Don't look back. And it's all fine now, back to normal. So if I was in the middle of saying something, I apologise, I've completely forgotten now. Just going to redo that one. I very nearly always have to unpick a stitch or two when I do a stitch with me. I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's anything new. But I am sort of undecided now whether to go right or to go down or to sort of, or to do a bit of both. So that if you do a bit of both, it does sort of end up being a bit diagonal-like. So there we are. No harm done. If it's marked, if that one stitch is marked off on pattern keeper, then I won't get lost when I come back again with the next colour. So there it is. And I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Because, yeah, I've done about 50 stitches during this stitch with me, which isn't too bad. It's a lot more than I would have normally done if I had done row by row, because I would be rethreading and parking and rethreading. So it's actually a little bit quicker, even whilst talking, which is a bit of a, yeah, it's a bit of a miracle that I can talk at all, really, but I'm kind of getting used to it now, so it's fine. So, thanks for joining me and spending a little bit of time with me. It's nice to come on sort of impromptu and stitch with you. And also don't forget to put down your choice in the comments if you want to win one of those Needleminders. And I shall come back in a couple of weeks with the results. So I hope you guys all have a lovely week. And if I don't come back sooner, the next week. I hope it is a nice stitching week for you and you have a nice time. So I will see you again shortly. Bye for now.